Imagine standing in the middle of a battlefield, but this isn't a war of swords or guns. This is the battlefield of your mind. Every day, you face attacks. A stranger insults you, a friend betrays you, someone disrespects you, and anger ignites like a fire inside. Your body tenses. Your mind screams for revenge. But what if you could feel nothing? What if no insult, no betrayal, no circumstance could ever shake you again? We've been programmed to believe that frustration and rage are natural, that if someone wrongs us, we must react. But the greatest minds in history knew better. Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, Seneca. Men who faced war, exile, and betrayal without losing control. They mastered their emotions so completely that nothing could shake them. Their secret? Stoicism. This isn't about being passive or emotionless. It's about absolute control over your mind. Today I'm going to teach you how to never get angry again. Not by suppressing emotions, but by dominating them. By the end, you won't just understand Stoicism, you'll live it. 1. The illusion of control. Why most people stay angry forever. A man sits in his car, gripping the steering wheel so hard his knuckles turn white. His boss just fired him. No warning, no fair reason. Rage floods his veins as he replays the moment over and over in his head. He blames his company, the economy, his boss, his future, ripped away in an instant. But no matter how much he seethes, nothing changes. He sits there, stewing in his own anger, completely powerless. And this is how most people live. They believe anger happens to them, like a force of nature. They see it as justified, inevitable, proof that they've been wronged. But what if that wasn't true? What if anger wasn't something you had to feel, but something you chose to feel? The truth is, anger is just a habit, a conditioned response built over years of reacting the same way. It feels automatic, but it isn't. It's a loop, one that only continues because we allow it to. At the core of this illusion is a dangerous belief. The idea that we can control the outside world. We expect people to act a certain way, for life to be fair, for things to go smoothly. And when reality doesn't match those expectations, frustration builds. A friend betrays us. A stranger insults us. A deal falls through. And suddenly we feel personally attacked. We rage against the situation, as if through sheer willpower we can force the world to be different. But the world does not care. It moves forward, indifferent to our emotions, unchanged by our outrage. The only thing that changes is us. Our peace is shattered, our focus is hijacked, our power is lost. A Stoic, however, sees through this illusion. He understands that anger is never caused by external events. It is caused by his interpretation of those events. Marcus Aurelius ruled Rome through war, plagues, and betrayal. His empire was constantly under threat. His closest allies turned against him. And yet, he remained unshaken. Why? Because he mastered the one thing no one could ever take from him, his mind. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Marcus Aurelius, Meditations. The man who lost his job could have reacted differently. Instead of seeing it as a personal attack, he could have accepted it as just another event in life's ever-changing nature. Instead of drowning in self-pity, he could have focused on his next move, a new opportunity, a reinvention of his career, a fresh start. His boss may have taken his position, but he could not take his response. This is what separates those who suffer endlessly from those who remain calm under any storm. The ones who suffer believe they must control everything. The ones who thrive understand they only control themselves. The moment you internalize this truth, you free yourself from anger forever. 2. Letting go of the illusion. Think back to the last time you were furious about something outside your control. Maybe it was an argument with someone who refused to see your perspective, a delayed flight, a canceled meeting, a mistake someone else made that affected you. Now ask yourself, did my anger change anything? Did it make the situation better? Did it give me any real power? Anger feels powerful, but it's the exact opposite. It's surrender, an admission that something external has conquered your peace. It hijacks your thoughts, clouds your judgment, makes you impulsive. You say things you regret, make reckless decisions, waste hours dwelling on a situation that no longer exists. It is the ultimate illusion of control. You think you're fighting back, but in reality, you're losing yourself. So how do you break free? You let go. Let go of the illusion that life must conform to your expectations. Let go of the belief that people must act a certain way for you to be at peace. Let go of the idea that your emotions must be dictated by the outside world. And the moment you do this, something strange happens. You stop reacting. You start responding. You shift from being controlled by your emotions to controlling them. You stop wasting energy on things you can't influence. And instead, you focus entirely on what you can control: your mindset, your actions, your next move. You become untouchable, no longer disturbed by the chaos around you. Most people will never experience this level of power. They will spend their entire lives trying to control the uncontrollable, raging against circumstances they can never change. But you don't have to be like them. The choice is yours. Have you ever found yourself caught in a loop? The same situations, the same reactions, over and over. Someone cuts you off in traffic and you explode. Someone disrespects you and it ruins your entire day. But here's the truth. You don't have to live like this. The next time something angers you, stop. Take a breath. Ask yourself, is this in my control? Will my anger fix it? If the answer is no, let it go. Not for them, for you. Think about it. Life will always be unpredictable. People will betray you. Things will go wrong. You'll face loss, disappointment, and moments of unfairness. But none of these things have the power to make you suffer, unless you let them. Let me give you a personal example. A friend of mine, let's call him Jason, was fired from his job without warning. He had given everything to that company, stayed late, worked weekends, sacrificed time with his family. And yet, just like that, he was replaced. At first, he was furious. He spent weeks replaying the moment in his head, imagining all the ways he could have fought back. But one night he realized something. His anger was only hurting him. The company had already moved on. The world hadn't stopped turning. So he made a decision. Instead of wasting energy on resentment, he would focus on what he could control. He started freelancing. He built his own business. And a year later, he was making more money and working fewer hours than before. The only thing you truly own is your mind. And the faster you accept this, the faster you master your emotions. Because once you do, something incredible happens. You stop getting angry. You stop feeling bothered. You move through life with an unshakable calm, as if no storm could touch you. Because now you see the truth. The world was never in your control, but your mind always was. The Stoic's secret: detachment from external judgment. Let's talk about judgment, one of the biggest sources of pain in our lives. Picture this. A man posts a video online. He's excited about it, proud of the message. But then, the comments roll in. This is trash. You have no idea what you're talking about. Cringe. His stomach tightens. He knows he shouldn't care, but the words replay in his mind long after the person who wrote them has forgotten. Sound familiar? Why do we let the opinions of others control us? Why does one insult weigh heavier than 1,000 compliments? Because most people spend their lives trapped in a prison of external validation. They crave approval, fear rejection, take every insult personally. But what if you could break free? What if no one's words, good or bad, had power over you? What if you could move through life untouched by praise or criticism alike? Think about a time when someone insulted you. Maybe it was a coworker, a family member, a stranger online. You probably carried that comment with you, thinking about it for hours, maybe even days. Now ask yourself, did their words change who you are? Did they alter your abilities, your values, your purpose? The answer is always no. A true Stoic understands that external judgment is just noise. It has no real substance, unless you give it meaning. Take Marcus Aurelius. As emperor of Rome, he faced endless criticism, betrayal, and public scrutiny. If he had let every insult, every whisper of doubt consume him, he would have been ruled by his emotions, instead of ruling an empire. Instead, he wrote, "You always have the option of having no opinion." Imagine that power. The ability to hear something negative and choose not to let it take root in your mind. This is where detachment comes in. The next time someone criticizes you, stop. Instead of reacting, ask yourself, is this about me or is it about them? Because most of the time their words aren't really about you. They're a reflection of their own insecurities, their own frustrations. The rude cashier, probably exhausted and underpaid. The aggressive driver, maybe dealing with something stressful at home. The bitter coworker, maybe struggling with feelings of inadequacy. When you stop taking things personally, you gain an extraordinary kind of power. You become untouchable. The power of non-reaction, how to control every situation. Picture this, you're walking down the street. Someone shouts an insult from a passing car. You don't know them, they don't know you. They're gone in seconds. Would you let that one comment ruin your entire day? Most people would, but a Stoic wouldn't. A Stoic sees it for what it is, irrelevant, just a sound in the wind, nothing more. This principle applies to every area of life. Take an artist releasing their work into the world. Some people will love it, others will mock it. If they let external opinions dictate their actions, they either become addicted to validation or paralyzed by fear. Either way, they are no longer free. But a Stoic? A Stoic is indifferent. Praise doesn't inflate them. Insults don't wound them. They keep creating, keep moving forward, unaffected by the fleeting judgments of others. But let's be clear, detachment isn't about arrogance, it's about wisdom. It doesn't mean you ignore all feedback. It means you decide what to keep and what to discard. If criticism helps you grow, use it. If it's just noise, let it go. Because at the end of the day, you are the gatekeeper of your mind. So here's your challenge. The next time something frustrates you, someone cuts you off, someone insults you, someone judges you, pause. Ask yourself, is this worth my peace? Does this actually change who I am? And if the answer is no, then walk away. Because true power isn't about controlling others. It's about controlling yourself. And once you do, you move through life with an unshakable peace. Because nothing external can define you unless you allow it to. And that is real freedom. A man stands in the center of a high-stakes negotiation. Hostages are trapped inside a building. The criminals are armed. The tension is suffocating. Every second matters. The wrong move, the wrong word, even the wrong tone could send the situation spiraling into chaos. Across from him, the hostage taker is shouting, demanding, threatening. The room holds its breath, waiting for the negotiator to react. But he doesn't. He remains completely still. He listens. He pauses. He thinks. While everyone else is consumed by fear and emotion, he controls himself. And by doing so, he controls the situation. This is the power of non-reaction. Most believe power comes from force, being the loudest, the strongest, the most aggressive. But true power comes from stillness. The person who remains composed while others lose themselves always has the upper hand. This is why the greatest leaders, negotiators, and warriors in history mastered the ability to stay calm under pressure. It's why Marcus Aurelius, despite ruling an empire at war, could write, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." The trap of reaction. Think about the last time someone provoked you, Maybe it was a rude comment, an unfair accusation, or an attempt to embarrass you. Your body tensed, your heart raced, your instinct told you to react, to fire back, defend yourself, prove them wrong. But what happened when you reacted? Did it improve the situation or escalate it? People expect reactions. Insult someone and they expect anger. Test someone and they expect defensiveness. Provoke someone and they expect retaliation. But what happens when you give them nothing? Confusion, uncertainty, loss of control. By not reacting, you turn the tables. The most powerful person in any conflict is the one who remains silent, not out of weakness, but out of control. An FBI hostage negotiator doesn't scream at criminals. He pauses, calculates, responds with logic. A skilled boxer doesn't throw wild punches out of emotion. He waits, conserves energy, strikes only when necessary. A Stoic in daily life does the same. The 3-second rule. How do you resist the overwhelming urge to react? How do you stay composed when emotions run high? A simple but effective technique, the 3-second rule. Whenever you feel triggered, anger, frustration, defensiveness, pause for 3 seconds. Do nothing. Breathe in deeply, exhale slowly. Ask yourself one question. Does this situation deserve my energy? Most of the time, the answer is no. A random insult? Not worth it. A reckless driver cutting you off? Not worth it. A coworker's passive-aggressive comment? Not worth it. By the time those 3 seconds pass, your rational mind takes control. The emotional impulse fades. Elite soldiers train for this. In combat, reacting emotionally means death. A warrior must remain composed, no matter how chaotic the battlefield becomes. In life, the battlefield is different, but the principle remains the same. He who does not react controls the outcome. Indifference, the ultimate power. But what about moments when action is necessary? When someone crosses a boundary, commits an injustice, or disrespects you in a way that cannot be ignored? Should you still remain silent? Number. But you should act with control, not emotion. Imagine a billionaire walking through a crowded event. A critic shouts from across the room, calling him a fraud, a failure, a disgrace. The crowd turns to see his reaction. Most people in his position would be outraged, defensive, desperate to prove their worth. But he does something unexpected. He smiles, chuckles under his breath, and simply walks away, completely unbothered. Who won in that moment? The man who shouted, desperate for a reaction? Or the man who remained indifferent, untouchable and free? Nothing is personal, unless you decide it is. This is Stoic mastery, understanding that people's words, opinions, and actions are not about you. They act based on their emotions, their biases, their past experiences. You are merely an observer in their personal world. Seneca, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, wrote, "What others do is their business. What you do is yours." The moment you internalize this, you step into a level of strength most people never reach. The world no longer controls you. Insults, criticism, provocation, they hold zero weight unless you give them power. Practical applications. So how do you apply this in real life? 1. The workplace. A coworker criticizes your work in a meeting. Your instinct might be to defend yourself immediately, but instead pause. Let their words linger. Then respond calmly, with facts and confidence. Your composure will command respect, while their aggression will make them look unprofessional. 2. Social media. Someone leaves a hateful comment on your post. Your fingers itch to reply, to prove them wrong. But instead, remember, engaging only fuels their need for attention. Silence removes their power. 3. Relationships. Arguments with loved ones can become emotional fast. Next time tensions rise, try the 3-second rule. Instead of reacting, listen, breathe, then respond with clarity, not impulse. You'll find that most fights dissolve before they begin. 4. Daily annoyances. A driver cuts you off. A stranger is rude. Instead of letting it ruin your day, pause and ask, "Does this deserve my energy?" More often than not, you'll realize it doesn't. Final thought. Next time you're in a heated situation, remember this. The one who stays calm wins. The one who does not react controls the game. Power is not in aggression. It is in stillness. Imagine two people walking through a storm. One curses the rain, yells at the sky, and complains about how unfair it is. The other simply accepts it. He does not take the rain personally, nor does he blame the clouds for being what they are. Instead, he adjusts, moves forward, and remains at peace. Life is no different. Some people will be kind, others will be cruel. Some will love you, others will hate you. But none of it is truly about you. It's about them. Think of the last time someone insulted you. Maybe they called you weak. Maybe they dismissed your ideas. Ask yourself, was their judgment based on deep understanding? Or was it just a quick, emotional reaction? Most criticisms aren't thoughtful. They're projections, reflections of the person speaking, rather than the one being judged. A true Stoic sees through this illusion. He understands that if an insult shakes him, it's not the insult that has power, it's his own attachment to the words. He learns to let go, to observe without taking things personally. There's a powerful exercise that can change how you see criticism forever. The next time someone insults you, don't react. Instead, say to yourself, "That's their opinion, not my reality." Repeat it until it sinks in. Watch what happens. The insult loses all meaning. It fades into nothing because you never accepted it as truth. People expect you to react, to defend yourself, to argue. But the moment you break that pattern, you become untouchable. You shift from reacting to observing. You stop letting others dictate your emotions. A warrior does not take insults personally. A leader does not crumble under criticism. A master of the mind does not let words shake his reality because he knows his worth is not tied to outside opinions. This does not mean becoming emotionless. It means choosing where to invest your energy. Imagine carrying a backpack full of rocks. Each rock is an insult, a judgment, an expectation placed on you by others. Most people walk through life weighed down by these burdens. But you don't have to. You can drop the weight, move lighter, live freer. This mindset goes beyond insults. It applies to rejection, failure, even praise. If you depend on approval to feel valuable, you will also crumble under criticism. The Stoic mind remains centered, neither inflated by compliments nor broken by insults. So next time someone tries to belittle you, pause. Take a breath. Ask yourself, is this really about me? Or is it about them? Most of the time, you'll realize it has nothing to do with you. And just like that, the weight is gone. The storm passes. You walk away, smiling, untouched, unshaken, free. Memento mori, how accepting death ends all anger. A man wakes up in a hospital bed. His body is covered in bruises. His ribs ache with every breath. His mind is foggy. Just hours ago, he was speeding down the highway lost in thought. Work, stress, arguments, things that had seemed overwhelmingly important. Then, in an instant, everything changed. Metal twisted, glass shattered. The world spun out of control. Now lying in that hospital bed, he has only one thought. Why did I waste so much time on things that didn't matter? Nothing shifts perspective faster than coming face to face with death. It strips away every illusion, every distraction, every trivial worry. Arguments, grudges, pride, anger. Suddenly, none of it seems important. What once consumed the mind now feels small, almost laughable. This is the power of memento mori, the Stoic practice of remembering that death is inevitable. It may sound morbid, but in truth, it is one of the most liberating realizations you can have. Marcus Aurelius understood this deeply. He wrote, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." These were not just words. They were a way of life. Every decision, every reaction, every emotion was filtered through the lens of mortality. Ask yourself, If today were my last day, would this argument matter? If you had only a few hours left to live, would you waste them being angry at a stranger who cut you off in traffic? Would you spend them resenting someone for an insult? Would you let your last moments be consumed by petty frustrations? The answer is always no. When you truly grasp the reality of death, your priorities shift instantly. What truly matters rises to the surface: love, purpose, presence, gratitude. Think of anger as a thief. It steals your time, your peace, your energy. It convinces you that petty conflicts are worth your attention. But when you remember that life is finite, you start guarding your time like a warrior protecting his kingdom. You stop giving your minutes away so easily. You don't need a near-death experience to gain this clarity. You don't have to wait for your final moments to start living wisely. You can train yourself right now to see life through the eyes of someone who understands its brevity. And when you do, something incredible happens. A warrior does not enter battle unprepared. He does not wake up hoping that his instincts will be enough. He trains every single day, sharpening his blade, strengthening his body, and most importantly, mastering his mind. The world throws chaos, insults, and challenges at you daily. Most people react. The Stoic warrior prepares. Every great Stoic, from Marcus Aurelius to Seneca, had a mental training system. They did not simply rely on philosophy. They practiced it day after day until it became who they were. They trained their minds like a warrior trains his body, ensuring that no insult, no misfortune, no external force could ever shake them. The secret to becoming unbothered by anything or anyone is discipline. You do not magically wake up one day with an unshakable mind. You must build it. Just like a warrior in training, there are 2 daily exercises that will forge you into a person who never loses control again. 1. Premeditatio malorum, premeditation of evils. The first battle of the day is not fought in the real world. It is fought in your mind. Before anything happens, you must prepare. This is where the ancient Stoic practice of premeditatio malorum comes in. It means the premeditation of evil, the art of mentally preparing for obstacles before they arise. Imagine waking up each morning and asking yourself, what could go wrong today? At first, this might seem negative, but in reality, it is the ultimate tool for control. Instead of being caught off guard when things don't go your way, you have already rehearsed your response. Take, for example, an everyday scenario. You're driving to work, and suddenly, you hit unexpected traffic. Most people would get irritated, checking the time every few seconds, honking in frustration. A Stoic, however, has already considered this possibility before leaving the house. He has already thought, what if I get stuck in traffic today? How will I respond? Instead of reacting emotionally, he uses the time to listen to an audiobook, practice deep breathing, or simply accept the situation for what it is. By preparing for the worst, he is never thrown off balance. Another example, a student preparing for an exam. A non-Stoic might stress about the test, dreading every possible failure, but a Stoic prepares in advance, considering, what if the test is harder than expected? What if I forget an answer? By mentally walking through these outcomes, he is ready. If the worst happens, he remains composed, knowing that he has done everything he can to prepare. Or consider an entrepreneur launching a business. Instead of assuming everything will go smoothly, a Stoic business owner thinks, what if my first product fails? What if a competitor undercuts my prices? What if I lose my biggest client? By anticipating setbacks, he strengthens his resilience and ensures he can pivot rather than panic. By mentally facing these challenges in advance, nothing surprises you when they actually happen. You respond with calm, not panic. You adapt, not react. This is how you become unshakable. 2. Memento mori, remember you will die. The second daily exercise is even more powerful. Memento mori, remember you will die. Every morning, remind yourself that today could be your last. This is not meant to create fear. It is meant to create focus. It reminds you to choose wisely, to decide consciously what deserves your attention and what does not. A real-life example of memento mori is Steve Jobs, who famously said in a speech, "If today were the last day of my life, would I want to do what I am about to do today?" If the answer was no for too many days in a row, he knew he needed to change something. Consider a man who survives a near-death experience, perhaps a car crash or a serious illness. Many people who have gone through such events report that their outlook on life completely changes. They no longer waste time on trivial frustrations. They become more patient, more present, and more appreciative of every moment. One powerful example is Rick Elias, a passenger on Flight 1549, the plane that crash-landed in the Hudson River in 2009. He recalls how, in those moments before impact, his mind became crystal clear. He realized he had spent too much time worrying about things that didn't matter, and not enough time appreciating what did. After surviving, he made a vow to live differently, to eliminate meaningless drama, to be fully present with loved ones, and to never postpone joy. You don't need to experience a near-death event to adopt this mindset. Start small. The next time you're about to get upset over something minor, like a delayed flight or a rude comment, ask yourself, if today were my last day on Earth, would this matter? The answer, almost always, is no. But what about the things that do matter? Time with loved ones. Worth it. Pursuing your purpose. Worth it. Acts of kindness and compassion. Worth it. This mindset shift instantly filters out the nonsense and allows you to live with clarity and meaning. When you truly grasp the brevity of life, your priorities realign. You stop reacting emotionally to small annoyances and start focusing on what truly matters. The Stoic Warrior's Challenge. You can create this shift without experiencing disaster. You can start today. Try this simple challenge. Every morning before you start your day, ask yourself one question. If today were my last, would this matter? Ask it before every decision. Ask it before every argument. Ask it before wasting energy on anger. Soon, you will find that most things are not worth your time. To make this practice stick, consider keeping a small notebook. At the start of each day, write down 3 things that truly matter to you. At the end of the day, reflect, did I spend my time wisely? Did I live today as if it were my last? Imagine watching a highlight reel of your life. If today's events were on it, would you be proud? Or would you wish you had spent your time differently? That's the power of memento mori. It forces you to live intentionally. With consistent practice, these 2 exercises will become second nature. They will forge you into a mental warrior, calm in the face of chaos, disciplined in the face of distraction, and focused in the face of life's uncertainty. You will not be perfect. You will still feel anger, frustration, and disappointment. But these emotions will no longer control you. You will acknowledge them, put them in perspective, and let them go. This is how you train your mind like a warrior. Not through theory, but through daily practice. When the moment of challenge arrives, your emotions stay steady, not because you don't feel, but because your mind has already been there. You're not reacting. You're executing a plan. Before you start your day, close your eyes for 60 seconds. Picture the worst that could happen, an argument, a delay, an insult. Now visualize yourself handling each situation with complete control. No frustration, no overreaction, just calm, collected action. This is how you build resilience before the day even begins. Every great warrior reviews his battles. Every great leader reflects on his decisions. Every great mind analyzes itself. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire in chaos, war, betrayal, plagues, yet he remained unshaken. Not because he was emotionless, but because he understood. Control begins within. Every night he would write in his journal, not to impress, not for validation, but to ask himself, did I act with wisdom today? Did I control my emotions, or did they control me? What could I have done better? Self-reflection is the most powerful tool for growth. You cannot improve what you do not analyze. You cannot master yourself unless you hold yourself accountable. So tonight, Take 5 minutes. Look back on your day. Find one moment where you stayed calm when others would have lost control. Recognize that strength. Then, find one moment where emotion got the best of you. Not to judge yourself, but to learn. Decide how you'll handle it better next time. Do this daily, and you will forge an unshakable mind, one that is disciplined, resilient, and fully in control. People think emotional control is just a personality trait. It's not. It's a skill, one that must be trained. Your mind is like a muscle. Train it daily, and it becomes unbreakable. Every time you resist the urge to react, you strengthen it. Every time you pause instead of snapping back, you prepare for future challenges. Over time, you become someone who does not take things personally, does not get angry, and does not lose control. Imagine a life where nothing shakes you. An insult, you shrug it off. A setback, you adapt. Stressful situations, you remain calm. This is not a fantasy. This is a skill you can develop. The Stoics were not superhuman. They were disciplined. And now, so are you. But knowing is not enough. You must practice. Start tomorrow with premeditatio malorum. Prepare your mind for what could go wrong. End your day with reflection. Analyze how you responded. Do this daily, and one day, you will look around and realize, I do not get angry anymore. I do not react impulsively. I do not waste energy on things that don't matter. I have full control of my mind. And because of that, I have full control of my life. But this is just the beginning. Now that you have the blueprint for an unbreakable mind, what will you do with it? Marcus Aurelius faced endless challenges, yet he never lost control. He understood what most people don't. The world cannot disturb you unless you allow it to. He didn't suppress his emotions. He mastered them. Now the question turns to you. Will you keep letting small frustrations steal your peace? Will you continue giving your power away to insults, delays, and trivial problems? Or will you rise above, embrace discipline, and take full control of your inner world? Tonight, before you sleep, reflect. Did I react with wisdom today? Did I focus on what I can control? This is how you train your mind. This is how you become unshakable. Not by waiting for an easier life, but by forging a stronger self. If you're ready to build an untouchable mindset, type unshakable in the comments. Let the world see your commitment. Like this video, share it with someone who needs it, and subscribe for more Stoic wisdom. Together, we are building a community of people who refuse to be controlled by the chaos around them. Before you go, ask yourself, what if nothing could disturb your peace? What would change? Your journey starts now.